Hi, beautiful people. Good morning. Yesterday I read this news that came from Winter Olympics about this one Ukrainian athlete in a sport called skeleton, where this athlete was a Ukrainian and he refused to remove the helmet that had about 24 of athletes that were killed during the Russian invasion. So he had essentially had them on the helmet, and he just refused to give. And somewhere in his interview, he says that nothing is more important. Like if you put a perspective, nothing is more important than human life and human dignity. Not a medal certainly. And if you zoom out, right, like Olympics is held after every 4 years. So I imagine, putting myself in the shoes of this athlete that you've trained for 4 years for this event. You've possibly trained most of your life because when you are an athlete, it becomes who you are. Every single day that you get up and you just have this thing about just stopping to listen to the soreness in your body. I think there's this switch that we learn to turn off after a while. And that gives you a lot of perspective about what you really want. Like, why are you doing this? Why do you go through what people call as suffering? My husband and I, by the way, we talk about this all the time. He's like, okay, are you going to the gym tomorrow? And I tell him, क्यों कल कोई special दिन है क्या? In the sense that, is there something special that I should not go? So I think it is at a certain point, it gets beyond very cursory goals. It is not about hitting a certain fat percentage number. It is not about how you cosmetically look. It is about that journey of becoming. And I think everybody goes through or rather has to go through this to realize what it actually means. I also say this that because often my coach would tell me, hey, you need to take the one of the days off. So he would put a Saturday as a free day in my routine, and it's just who I am. It just becomes a part of my identity. um, on that note, I also wanted to share a very meaningful story that I read quite a while ago. In fact, this story has inspired Rumi as a child. So it is called "The Conference of the Birds." It is written by Farid Attar, and this is a story about birds. So they basically gather at a place and they realize that they have no true king, right? And then there's a wise bird called Hupi. She comes along and she basically says that, hey, if you want a true king, you need to go hit this place called Simurg. And while doing that, you have to go through these seven valleys, and there you would find it, right? So there are about many birds, but five birds in particular. Nightingale, which is very very attached to a rose. So she thinks, oh, how am I going to leave this rose behind and go to this different place? There's parrot. Parrot fears the death, so it's about uncertainty. There's peacock that has this again attachment to paradise. Duck that favors comfort, like she's very very comfortable in her own environment. And falcon that wants power. And these all birds in the story and their virtues reflect human weaknesses. And when they go through these seven valleys, which are about quest, love, knowledge, detachment, unity, wonderment, and annihilation, which is the most important one, which is, you arrive at a point where you feel like your ego is totally dissolved. At that point, when they are going through this journey, many birds drop off, and eventually only 30 birds survive. And these 30 birds, so in Persian, basically C is 30 and Murg is birds. So Simurg basically means 30 birds. So when they arrive at this place, this final Simurg place, they realize that there's no king. So they see a mirror, and in the mirror they basically see themselves. And that is when these 30 birds realize that they were that wise king that they were searching along. Like they were the Simurg themselves. It's not a place. I think the same goes for a mountain that you want to climb. It is not the mountains that we climb, it is us that we conquer in this journey. And I often tell and give myself this perspective that when you go to the mountains, you become a part of the mountains. It's not like when you go up the mountains, you are thinking, because oftentimes your body is hurting a lot, right? Like when you are, let's say, on a very steep, I don't know, like 60, 70 degrees slope, these thoughts cross your mind, which is, what on earth were you thinking when you got up this? Because कई बार ऐसी सिचुएशन होती है कि आप ऐसी सिचुएशन में हो कि अब ना आगे जा सकते हो ना पीछे जा सकते हो, right? And so we in mountaineering we say that climbing a mountain is optional. Climbing a mountain is optional, coming down is mandatory, right? Like you need to come down, and often the way in which we go down is not the way in which we can come down. So yeah, I think when we prepare for some of these life experiences, consciously, and when we train for that, the joy is actually the training. The joy is not climbing, and it feels very absurd because we do spend a lot of time in the logistics. We do spend a lot of time in preparing every single bit of it, but actually that's a preparation not for those 17, 18 days when you are trekking on these mountains, but it is a preparation for you becoming, essentially. So yeah, I hope something in this message connects to you. Whenever I share this, I think it certainly deepens my own understanding of life. So yeah, thanks. Have a beautiful day.